my friends, Jerry Rosa here, the Rosa Stringworks Man Cave, and I'm Superman today. I'm going to need to be Superman with all the things I've got to do. I started making a list of things to do that need to be done right away, and it is just overwhelming. It's just overwhelming. And things aren't going any better. It just kind of went downhill yesterday, big time. I'll tell you about that in a minute. But first, I saw the newest video from Itchy Boots this morning, and they're holding her captive in Iran. They won't let her out. Well, not exactly, but apparently there was some paperwork screw up when she came into the country. They stamped her thing with the wrong stamp, which is just like typical. She has kind of like my luck on some things, and that's exactly what would happen to me. Now she can't get back out, and it took forever to get the first stamp. Now she's afraid she's going to have to go through that whole mess again. So I don't know. I had my doubts about going to Iran to begin with. That just doesn't seem like the place to go. But anyway, you know how she is. She falls in an outhouse and comes out smelling like a rose. She'll probably just be fine. On the other hand, my luck kind of ran out yesterday. You know, I was telling you how good the furnace is working with the, anytime I say something. How good it's working with that new controller. Well, the controller's still fine, and the furnace is still fine, but, I went out yesterday about 4:30 and in the afternoon and filled it up. And every once in a blue moon, and there's no predicting, it just happens occasionally, and it happens, well, it kind of happens really with any wood stove or furnace. You'll throw wood in there, and for whatever reason, usually it's always on the coldest day, for whatever reason, it just doesn't catch on. Just for some dumb reason, compared to any other day, the wood just doesn't ignite. Well, that's what happened yesterday. So I went out at 4:30, and the water temperature was perfect. Everything was perfect. There was plenty of hot coals and, other small pieces of wood in there and stuff that were still on fire. So I threw the wood on top of it. Just like normal. It's like I do it every time. I've done it hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. And it just didn't catch on. So I go back out about 10 o'clock last night to double check it and to throw some more wood in there. And the temperature is all the way down to 106. That's the water temperature, for the big water. So that's not good. 106 is not very warm when it comes to trying to heat a house like this. So the house is getting cool. And anyway, I stirred it up. All I did was stir it up a little bit. And then there wasn't any room to put any more wood in there. And sure enough, it started catching on. So I waited about an hour, and the temperature went from 106 to like 108. And I think, well, that's not very good. It's going up, but it's not going real fast, and it takes a while to heat 400 gallons of water, especially considering that it's circulating the whole time and the furnace is blowing through it and cooling it off even more. So anyway, about midnight then, I'm still up and check it, and it's up to 118 at that point. Well, I thought, I guess it's at least we can tell it's catching on and it's going to be okay, So I go ahead and go to sleep. I wake up at 6 this morning, and I go out there and check it, and it's at 132 or something. So it's gone up a little bit, but now most of the wood's gone. So I fill it up again, and then I go back out at 8 and put more wood in it. I think it was up to 140 or something at that time. So then I go out at lunchtime, and it was up to 182 where it's supposed to be. So it's at the present temperature. It took, that long to get it back up to the right temperature. Aggravating. just that typical luck thing. It's not uncommon for that to happen in a way, but it doesn't happen except on the coldest days. That's when it usually happens. And when you know it happened, oh, it just aggravating. So then, in the middle of all of that, actually about the time I was putting the wood in it at 4:30 yesterday afternoon, I hear this bang, and I thought, what the heck was that? And Sue was pulling in with the Ranger. By the way, the Kawasaki's on the blitz again. It's not running again. It's the brand new machine, or well, it's like a 2022 or 2023, and it's not running again. It's like the third time. What a pain. So she was using the Polaris Ranger, and we've got a problem with our garage door opener, which is one of the things on my things to do list to fix that. I've fixed it a billion times already. This time I'm just going to buy a new one. But before I could get to that, I hear this bang, and Sue had opened the garage door manually. It's not that heavy. It lifts pretty easy. Plus, I have the spring pretty tight, so it lifts pretty easy. So, but she didn't lift it quite all the way. On the way out, it was not a problem. But on the way in, she hit it and bent the door. And I think maybe tore up my solar panel charger on the top of the Ranger. It's messed the door up to where the door doesn't want to hinge right. You know how you got your 4 panels or whatever like this on that door. Well, the bottom panel now is not lined up with the panel above it, so I've got to go take all that apart and see if I can get it lined up and try to straighten out the little bit of a bend that's in it. Then I was going to put on a new garage door opener. And and this is something for you all to give me some feedback on. Maybe some of you are aware or know about this because I haven't tried it yet. But I was thinking about getting one of those newer garage door openers that mount on the wall that are what they call a direct drive. In other words, it just goes straight into the end of the shaft. Do any of you have experience with that, and are those any good? I know they're more expensive, and they're supposed to be the quietest one out there, but I'm just curious, do they cause problems, or is there anything that you know about them that you could tell me? If you do have experience with them, please put it in the comments, because I'm about ready to go into town, maybe yet today, and I'll probably pick one up. But the reason I got to go into town, well, either today or tomorrow for sure, is I have another package to ship out for Cometa Systems. So I was going to go do that either today or tomorrow. Tomorrow it's supposed to warm up into the 30s at least. Today it's still in the 20s. It got down to, I think, 10 overnight, so it was pretty chilly again. On other news, Sue has finished her interior renovation, and I moved her computer yesterday to the new room that she remodeled, and I still don't know why she would move her computer from that picture window. That's the perfect place to sit, if you ask me, but she decided she wanted it moved into this other room. And she built her new table, so I'll show you a picture of that too. It's pretty neat, her new computer desk. But I'll show you that tomorrow. Then, I mentioned the problem with the PayPal mess with this person ordering just like a dozen of these Nashville number systems. Well, guess what? They ordered 3 more today. And there's no way to contact them. So that's like a total of 15. I know it's got to be an error. I know that they're probably trying to download it and it's not working or something like that, because nobody orders 15 of those things. I mean, you might think, well, maybe they're giving them away or something. Well, I don't think so. I really don't. I don't think that's it. Most people aren't that honest anyway. They wouldn't do that. So I spent an hour or better on the phone with PayPal this morning, and they were able to get some of them refunded for me, but some of them they couldn't for whatever reason. It's just a mess. Everything's a mess. It's just like if I touch it, if I get close to it, it's a mess. So anyway, let's look at the comments and see what we got going on today. I haven't obviously been doing anything because it's solid ice out there. I mean, it like literally is solid ice under the snow. You can't walk on it. You can't drive on it. You can't do nothing on this mess. It's a mess. So anyway, it looks like Joe Nigan was the first one in there this morning. Says, so interesting, everyone. Okay, that's a curious comment. David Tharp, I post a lot of silly stuff so that we might forget about our troubles and laugh, or at least smile for a second or two. Yeah, that works for me. If I wasn't laughing, I'd be crying. Let's see. And let's see. David Tharp says, it's cold here also, but I like going outdoors. It's so much easier than going out of windows. Let's see. Wavy Gravy. You know you're getting old when you start each morning with snap, crackle, and pop. You haven't even had breakfast yet. Yep, I get that one. James Copy, working on our house and barn after damaging storm. Could be much worse. Wow. Yeah, we're all lucky in a lot of ways when these storms pass around us. Fortunately here, we haven't had a lot of storm damage on the buildings and things, but we have had plenty of trees down, that's for sure. Todd, you will need all the rain you can get with those trees on your large property. Yeah, we always need a lot of rain, that's for sure. And, I'm not complaining about the moisture that the snow will provide. That's not the issue. But, boy, the darn ice. If we didn't have the ice with it, the snow doesn't bother me at all. But that ice, it's a real pain. Eddie Turner, I don't feel useless anymore. Someone said I could be used as a bad example. I'm right there with you on that one, Eddie. All the cedar would make a fine-sounding guitar. Yeah, if you could find it not free, for sure, you could make a decent guitar out of that red cedar. It would work. It definitely would. But, to make a decent one, you'd have to have a really big red cedar and, where you didn't have all those limbs cutting through it. And there's very little of that when it comes to red cedar. David Tharp, there are a lot of things invented by the Chinese, but I think chopsticks is the main reason they don't invent custard. Or they didn't invent custard. Yeah, that could just exactly be right. Daddy Hildebrand, waiting on the winter storm for South Carolina. Yeah, well, I hope it goes around you. What a mess. Let's see. Dottie's praying for us. Thank you, Dottie. Wavy Gravy. This is just in. A huge nest of killer bees were found dead this morning after they were observed stinging themselves. It is believed that they all decided to commit insecticide. Oh, that's tragic. Let's see. David Tharp, when I discovered that I was holding the taser by the wrong end, I was stunned. Kim Williford, hi Jerry, how is Beverly's mom? Praying for her. Well, I haven't heard as of real recent, but I think she's holding her own. She's had strokes and different things. It's not been good. It's gotten kind of worse. She was in the hospital. I'm not sure if she's back yet or not, to be honest. So I haven't heard the last few days, but it's not real good. Eddie Turner, Itchy Boots was in Iran for her season 1, episode 53 5 years ago. Oh, yeah, cool. Yeah, well, that's what she said. She didn't really want to go through Iran because she was wanting to concentrate on Iraq this time, but she had to go through Iran to get back into the other part of Iraq, which just doesn't make sense to me. You can't just pass from one part of Iraq to the other part of Iraq. Well, I guess without a specific passport, and she didn't have that passport or something, and that's why she went this other route. I was looking, I see the dog's barking and something's coming up the driveway. It looks like it's our neighbors in their four-wheel drive vehicle. You know who our neighbors are. Scott Roberts, garage door. Instead of dealing with broken springs again, I built a sliding barn-style door and love it. No motor needed. Yeah. Let's see. Sidecar Barb, northeast of Toronto. Okay. Scott Roberts, you gave it your best shot on trying to give that money back. I think you should just keep the money and move on. Sounds like you are dealing with an idiot. I don't know what's going on. I truly don't. And, and then it didn't help that when I get on the phone, I could not get to PayPal. I couldn't get to any human. You know how it is with these darn systems. They don't give you an option, like press this button if you want to speak to a real person. They don't give you that option. So finally, it was forcing me through things that didn't apply. Like, do you want to report fraud? Well, you didn't have an option to report any, unique, weird situation, or somebody who's paying too much. There's no options for this. It was like, do you want to report fraud? Do you want to pay a bill? Do you want to do this? Nothing like that made any sense to what I wanted to do. So I said, well, I guess report fraud. Because I don't know what else to pick. So I picked that. So then it starts me through this thing, and it says, which transaction? So I picked like 3 of these transactions. And then, so it sends me an email back a little bit later, and it says, we've looked at them, and this is not fraud. It's like, so I'm on the phone with this stupid mechanical system, and I'm not lying. I actually scream into the phone. I was so aggravated at this point. I said, I want to speak to a human. I was screaming it into the phone. And they said, and this mechanical thing, it must have recognized that. So I'm telling you this as a public service announcement. If you really get aggravated, scream at it and say, I want to speak to a human. Because apparently at least some systems have it built in. And they eventually, after 2 or 3 more prompts, it's, okay, we're getting you someone to speak to. So it worked anyway. I was so aggravated, I couldn't stand it. I was about ready to smash the phone. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do, Scott Roberts. I just don't know what I'm going to do. It's aggravating. I don't want to keep somebody's money if they're having trouble. I'm sure they must be having trouble, but like you said, what a moron for not at least emailing me or something. I don't get it. And their account is not tied to an email address, so I can't email them. And there's no phone numbers. There's nothing. And I asked PayPal, I said, do you guys have a way to contact this person? No, they don't. Can you block this person? No, we can't. Now, if they had an email, I could block them. Whatever. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. Wavy gravy. Scientists have discovered that the inhabitants of Mars prefer to be called Martinese, as opposed to Martians, and they've never visited Earth because they can't find a designated driver. I'm sure I'm reading that really wrong. I just am terrible at reading. Jerry, when I load my boiler, I rake what hot coals I can reach and pull them to the damper. Done for 20 years. Yeah, I do that too. I get them all piled up there, but just every once in a blue moon, for whatever reason, and it's usually on the coldest doggone moment, that's when it just decides it didn't want to catch on. It didn't go completely out, it just didn't catch on. I don't know why. It's just one of them things. And there's Bill Webb. Hello. Sidecar Barb. It was 15 degrees C at our place northeast of Toronto this morning. Minus 15. Wow. That's cool. That's pretty chilly. Kim Williford. Customer service is just a thing of the past. Well, if you screamed loud enough, and the girl that did help me eventually, she did try to help me, but it was crazy slow. It was unbelievably slow. She ended up, I think, refunding five of a bunch of those. Five of them, I think she was successful refunding. And it took an hour. I mean, it's ridiculous. Scott says, how about entertaining us with your Bob impersonation before you sign off? No, I think I'll pass. Let's see. Rod Wentler, Jerry, I have discovered that if you keep mashing 0, it will eventually put you through to a human. Okay, well, maybe I could try that if I don't want to wake everybody up screaming at it. David Thorpe, my question is, why do they say for English press 1 when somebody comes on who can barely speak it? Boy, isn't that the truth? I've actually hung up on several people like that. I just say, look, I can't understand you. Goodbye. Click. It drives me nuts. I've done that more than once. Martini is an alcoholic drink. Okay. Like I said, I just wasn't reading it very good. But you've got martinis, and when I see the knees, I'm thinking of something else. That's where my brain was going. Plus, I don't drink, so martini doesn't hit me real straight in the face. So anyway, that's my excuse. I'm sticking to it. The other part of my excuse is I'm stupid. And, I can't help it. It's just the way it is. 152 viewers, so we're doing okay on our viewers. That's really good. I appreciate y'all being here. Now, if 2/3 of you would click the thumbs up button, that would help for tomorrow. I would appreciate it a lot. I guess I'm going to let that be it. And, Kim just popped one in there. It says, I talk with track phone. I can't find anyone who speaks English without an accent of another language. Yeah, most of them are call centers over in India, and every once in a while you can hear one that you can understand, but I don't mind talking to them. It's not that I'm prejudiced. I just can't understand them. I can't understand what they're saying, and they say it so fast. And it's like, and I can't understand a word they're saying. It's like it goes in one ear and out the other, and I just finally get aggravated and say, sorry, goodbye. Because I get tired of asking them to repeat. So, there you go. More than you signed up for. Thanks, guys. We will see you tomorrow with something else.